at last, vampires and werewolves the way that they should be. Kind of. Underworld Awakening is the 4th film in the series, and this film takes place after Underworld Evolution. Now I kind of looked into a wee bit of the film, and I looked at the sort of plot of the film, and I thought, this film looks interesting. But actually, the plot that they were giving you is actually a load of bullshit. The plot that they give you is saying that the human race has discovered vampires and lycans, aka werewolves, and have ordered a sort of plague contingency plan on getting rid of them all, and it's up to Selena to engage the battle in order to survive. That was the half of it. The other half is she wakes up 12-13 years later, discovering the world is completely changed, and now she finds this little girl who has some connection to her and must protect her at all cost. My first good point is it actually shows the way vampires and werewolves should be. For vampires, none of this sparkly nonsense. And for werewolves, none of this. They actually just look like your everyday dog. You know, they actually look a bit more deformed and a bit more gruesome. And my second good point, the action scenes in this film are actually really good. There is actually quite a lot of bad points of this film, and actually quite a lot more than the good points. Now, even though Katie Bacon reprises her role as Selena, I felt that she wasn't being driven forward enough, and you don't really get here. I did not see much of her, but she doesn't really do much except, you know, she says a couple of lines, starts killing people, dogs and all that gun blazing, and I felt that that could have been more done. I mean, at the end of Evolution she gains the ability to actually walk during the day, and they don't really show that well. I mean, there's only one scene where you actually sort of see it, but you can't really tell. Now, there are two things that actually really did piss me off. I wouldn't say they're bad, but these are really the things that pissed me off the most. The first one, there's a big ass werewolf, and I'm not meaning as in like my size, kind of like big and butch kind of thing. I'm actually meaning as in it's like 2 or 3 times bigger than a normal werewolf. And I felt that the directors or whoever thought about that were actually literally taking the piss. Now, the second piss take this film does is it is incredibly fucking short for what it is. I mean, I admit, for a film that probably started off a franchise, an hour and a half is absolutely fine, even maybe a wee bit less, but for a series that this kind of strong and popular, going under an hour and a half is absolutely ridiculous. And it doesn't help they chop through a lot of the film. It's very badly cut, and it leaves a lot of gaping holes. And now for the score, and the score gets an alright score. The film could have been a lot better. In fact, if it was a lot better, it would have gotten a good score, but it gets an alright score because it's just too choppy, it's ridiculous, outrageous. I mean, the action scenes are great and all, but that's what kind of saves the film, and I hate it when that saves it. The only problem is this film is much better than Twilight will ever be, and it's only going to make 1/10 of what the next Twilight film